All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be focusing on the standard 30A9, which is identifying arithmetic patterns. And yes, that's hard for Miss Agraff to say. So we've been learning how to take computer tests, and that means that we have to use line paper to be able to write down our answers and to work out our problems. So I'm going to read this problem. A teacher asks 4 students to describe the rule for the given pattern: 5, 10, 20, 40, 80. So on your lined paper that you're going to have, make sure you've got your name up here in the corner, and you're going to write down number 1, and you're going to write down 5, 10, 20, 40, 80. And we're going to figure out, before we even read the answers, what is the pattern. So I've got 5 to 10 is plus 5, 10 to 20 is plus 10, 20 to 40, well, that's going to be plus 20, and then 40 to 80 is plus 40. What do you notice about our pattern? I notice that 5 doubles, then 10 doubles, and then 20 doubles. So let's think, what do we know about doubling? We know that it could be multiplication. So if I take 5 and I multiply it times 2, is it going to give me 10? It is. If I take 10 and multiply it times 2, is it going to give me 20? It is. If I take 20 and multiply it times 2, is it going to give me 40? It is, because 2 times 2 is 4. And so if you have 2 tens and you multiply it times 2, then you're going to have 40. And if you multiply 40 by 2, you're going to get 80. So now that I've done my thinking on my paper, I'm going to go down here and look at the students' responses. Adam says, multiply each number by 2 to get the next number. John said, multiply each number by 4 to get the next number. Mike says, add 10 to each number to get the next number. And Paul says, add 5 to each number to get the next number. Well, remember, you don't have this sheet. It's a computer test. By looking at this, we know we could use our tools on the computer and go, well, Paul, no, we're not adding, because if I added 5 to each number, 5 plus 20 is going to give me 25. So I know Paul's wrong, so he's out. Add 10, well, if I add 10 to 20, I'm going to get 30, so I know Mike's out. So the only 2 possibilities that I know now is John and Adam. John and Adam are my only 2 possibilities. And multiply each number by 4 to get to the next number. On the very first one, if I multiplied 5 by 4, is it going to give me 10? It's not. It's going to give me 20. So therefore, the only reasonable answer now is Adam. The only reasonable answer. And this is my proof where I worked it out on the paper. On number 2, we've got our second one here. Remember, we're just dealing with patterns because we're identifying the patterns. We're going to look at number 2. I'm going to put 2 over here. You're going to put 2 over here, and you're going to circle it on your lined paper. And you're going to say, Nicholas began completing the chart by filling in numbers. All right, so now I've got to look at this chart. I don't have this chart because it's online, remember? So I can make my chart and say first add in, because that's what it says on my chart. What is an add-in? That's going to be a question. And the first add-in is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Then I don't know. Now I have 2 blanks here I have to fill in. The second add-in is 15, 13, 11, 9, 7, and I've got 2 blanks. And then the sum, which is a big hint on what add-ins are, is 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, and then I've got 2 blanks. 2 blanks in my, but we know by looking at this it's going to be 15 and 15, right? So there's going to be my 2 blanks there. So if we look at this, what's the pattern? What should go here? And what should go here? 2, 4, 6, 8, we should say 10, and then 12. This one we're going 15, 13, 11, 9, 7. So we're going backwards by 2 each time. So we should have 5 here and 3 here. Now if I add my 2 add-ins together, do I get 15? I do. So let's see what the question asks. The question asks, if the first add-in is 12, so this is my first add-in, so it's asking me right here, what will be the value of the second add-in? So this is my second add-in. So the only possible answer would be 3. That's how we answer those questions. Oh, look here, wonderful dominoes. I love dominoes. Gwen studied the pattern in 3 dominoes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4. Which domino should Gwen put to continue the pattern? So which domino would be here? 1, 2, 3. So we're looking for what? So we know it can't be this one because it don't have 4 at the top. And we've got 6, 5, 4. So the bottom one needs to be, yep, you're right. You should have a 4 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Now, is there any reason to write something down on the paper for this one? The answer should be no, because this is just you thinking through the problem. Question 4. What rule is used to make the pattern shown? 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. So this one we're going to have to come over here. And since we didn't have number 3, we're just going to put number 4 because that's the 4th problem. We're going to write down 27, 36, 45, 54, and 63. Now let's think. How did I get from this number to this number? Well, I can't add a 10, because if I add a 10, then that's going to be 37, and it's 36. So it's 1 shy, so that means I would have added 9 to that. Let's see if the next one's the same. Well, if I add 10, I'd get 46, and 1 less than that, because it's 45, is 9. Yep, I'm starting to see the pattern, are you? Good. So on this one, you should have add 9 each time. Let's look at the next one. Which rule can be used to create the list of numbers? 203, 220, 220, or 237, 254, 271, 288, 305. So back to our line paper again. This is question number 5, and I'm going to circle it. Make sure you're staying on the lines. If you're not staying on the lines, you're going to have to redo it. 203, 220, 237, 254, 271, 288, and I may run out of room. And 305. Alright, so how did I get from here to here? Well, if I added 7 to 203, that would get me to 210. But I need to get to 220. So I need 7 ones and 1 10 to get to 220. Now let's see if we add 17 to this one. That would give us a 7. And that would give us a 3. So yep. So we had to add 17 more, didn't we? That's our rule. Now, if I add 7 here, I'm going to get 14, which is there. I have a 1 that I have to carry over here, so that's 4, so that's 5. So yep, so that's 17 again. So my rule is adding 17, isn't it? All the way down through here. So it says add 17, add 18, add 102, add 105. So you would add 17. Hope you're getting these right, guys. Alright, so we're getting close to the end of the amount of time on the video. So I want to do some quick review questions at the end. If I have 9, what do I add to it to get to 10? If I have 17, what do I add to it to get to 20? If I have 12, what do I add to it to get to 20? If I have 14, what do I add to it to get to 20? If I round 67 to the nearest 10, what does it round to? If I add 134, if I had 134 and I rounded it to the nearest 10, what does it round to? If I have 569 and I round it to the nearest 100, what does it round to? If I have 143 and I take away 56, what do I get? If I have 200 and I take away 65, what do I get? If I have 361 and I add 158, what is my sum? If I have 497 and I add 342, what is my sum?